The churches generally in all Slovakia, they were first everywhere on in the borders, in a train station, bus stations, volunteers, churches were everywhere.
Yeah, we were totally overwhelmed, like all people from the church, overwhelmed by this situation. It was hard for us to say like no, because my wife is Ukrainian, so like we had like, so for example we called to her parents and she was like saying goodbye if we will never meet again.
That's the thing from the beginning, like no one knows what's the next week gonna bring.
Yeah.
That's the hardest, because you constantly just adjust.
We had two Ukrainians up on the stage, shared their testimony of how they left Ukraine and testify that Ježiš je car, Jesus is the king. And I think so for us as a church, that was the galvanizing thing, that there are real people. The first Sunday it started and they're here with us. So it was just baby steps. Yeah. But suddenly there are thousands of Ukrainians at your door. So
right. That was crazy. That was very crazy. So our house was always like full of people, Ukrainian and also Slovak, and like neighbors started to bring their stuffs to help Ukrainian people, and many groceries and clothes and everything. So our house was literally like packed of people and stuffs. So that was very hard for us to live, because also we have two kids, two small daughters, and I've noticed that like they realize that they don't have parents right now. Like we were there, but we were not there like emotionally or.
We have no properties as a church, no property, no money. We had no money, no people. We had almost nothing, and I was a little bit jealous to churches which they had buildings, because they could host people. But this was my prayer. God shows us how to help, how to be family to their people. And the idea was that we will rent flats or apartment flats. We found one flat, second flat, house. Now we have 4 flats. This week we will have a 5th. Before the church, their picture of church was like group which hate LGBT people. They hate vaccination or something. They saw this picture. Now they see different picture and they like it. So the picture of church changed nationally, but also very personally.
To be honest, I'm fearful, because people can take some change, but how much? I mean, you're flexible to some point, then you break. And the result from overwork and burnout can damage our churches for long. We need to realize that this is just the beginning of a longer journey with strangers that are living among us.
If nobody takes care of the church and everyone takes care only with the relief, then the church collapses eventually down the road. And the other option was just to ignore it, which was not the real, that's not really option. If you want to be person of gospel, you cannot ignore the need.
We need to be wise and discerning and not stretch ourselves too much. But there has to be some kind of a gospel radicality about it. That yes, we don't want to burn out and we don't want others to burn out, but are we going to look just the same as the world around us is, or will there be a distinctive beauty about the church? And those things are impossible to see on TV or in media or news. But those things are beautiful. Those things change people and mature His church. And they are not things that we would choose to happen or that we rejoice in when they're happening. But without them, we would not be sanctified. We would not be changed into people more like Jesus.
This will be the gospel. Should we tell this, that if you will find Jesus, you will be, your country will be safe? We don't know if the war will finish. We don't know if their husbands will not die. We don't know if their house will be not destroyed. And we should not lie to them to say this, that Jesus will solve this your problem. And we were talking as a team that, okay, what is the gospel for them? Because of course it is the same gospel for us, but we didn't see this perspective. And it was so fruitful, so healthy discussions for us, how to tell them the gospel, but it is the same how we will tell the gospel among us.
I think there's this great hope that he sees this, he understands this, it's not out of his hands, and he has his purpose because he's sovereign over this.
I think that God was preparing me whole life to this situation.
Wow.
I pray that they could see that Ukrainian people are really part of our church family, and that's because we see, like in the gospel, that we were strangers, but God made us part of His family, God's family. Like this helping is never ending. Is like we can help. There are like 40 million people in Ukraine, so, and we are 5 million Slovakia country. So we can give everything, and that will be not enough. But God is in control. He can use what He wants to use. We are not savior of these people. He is savior of people. That's what we're trying to remind ourselves.